Ladies and gentlemen, if you care about the longevity of those that you work with, we have a prime example here. Stay tuned. Welcome everyone to Your Little Castle Show. Cardinal Cowboy here. Carolyn is in the building. We have Callier Thompson Kitchen Bath Appliance. You guys have been around since 1956. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
We haven't been around since 1956.
Let me clarify. You guys, not the two of you. You guys have been around, but I guess maybe, I don't know how, we're not talking about birthdays here. We're talking about the company that you have, you decided to, when an ownership decision came about, you said the owners were retiring, I guess. And you guys said, you had worked for the company, says, why don't we take control of our own destiny here?
Right.
We can run this thing.
Yeah.
And now how long have you guys been running?
Since 2014?
Yeah.
August or October of 2014.
Okay, so I thought you said
years.
14, so that's 12, 13 years going on now. You guys know what you're doing. How long did you work before you took ownership?
I started in 2002, and
I was 2010.
2002, 2010. Okay, so long history prior to that. So now that's why you already knew how this thing ran. You weren't too concerned.
Right. We knew it was a good company. And
well, I got excited when I saw the name on my list of people we're interviewing. I'm like, holy cow, these guys are legendary. This is a company that's been around. I worked for Anheuser-Busch. Now that company went back to the 1800s or whatever. Now they did get a buyout also. That was a little different. Not a St. Louis-based company anymore. You guys are a St. Louis-based company, and since going to 70 years now.
Yeah.
70 years.
It's crazy.
And you guys have been running it. 2002, 2010, involved with the company and owning it since 2014. Okay. That's what we like to talk about. With that, let's give a shout out. We do have a lot of sponsors who've been in business for a long time also. So Carroll House Furniture. If you like nice furniture, everyone, you likely have heard of Carroll House Furniture here in St. Louis. They're probably the premier name in St. Louis for furniture. Because you like nice things, then probably there's a decent chance that you're living in a house that Callier and Thompson made the kitchen for them.
Could be.
There's a fairly decent chance. And then you put some nice furniture around it too. So we got a thing going on here. Also, if you do want to invest in your future, I didn't realize how well gold had performed historically. I was a mutual fund guy, stock guy, investment guy. I even took the test once, see how that would go. Decided to stay out of that industry. And gold outperforms most anything out there, including the S&P. But get yourself some information. Go to here it is, everybody. Go to cowboygold.com, and you can see our sponsors. I have decided to join up with these guys to help them get the word out, because there's our gold cowboy. Does that look kind of neat? Is that weird? AI. I took my logo that I had designed since college, which was 1996 or something, and a couple years after, my roommate was one of the best artists. He made the logo, and it's an AI took it and made it like that. Kind of smashed out my face. I got better features than that. But there's the gold cowboy. If you are looking for a place to invest, or just they've got what's called a sound money wallet, and you can load your money into it just right out of your bank account. It goes up and buys gold. Gold goes up in price. You can cash out the next day, and it automatically transfers. Pretty cool process they've got there. But that's cool to have great sponsors, because we like to then, if we don't have good sponsors, how are we going to bring on some of the top companies in the world to join us in our studio? So we appreciate all the support we get in our community. With that, where do I start with you guys? I'm just kind of still overwhelmed with what you guys do. How did you guys get into this? When was it you guys decided this is what you guys wanted to do with your careers? I guess I'll start with you, Carolyn.
Oh. Well, I loved architecture, and I loved space planning. So when I was asked to switch careers, I kind of jumped on it. My neighbors, she would always laugh, how do you know you like to do that so much? And it was just something that I always really loved, and kind of never looked back on making the switch. So it was a good move.
Yeah, well, it turned into something. Obviously, do they call it a career? It's been a career. I don't know how long. Do the math, just from 2002 to 2000.
23 so far, yeah.
Yeah, that's anybody that's over 10 years, they talk about that's a long time in the industry. You're becoming an expert, but you're double that. So you started when you were like 7 years old, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, I figured that. Bob, likewise, where did you give me a little bit of the background for you? Where did you come into this and decide this is the path you want?
Yeah, so I had worked various retail jobs when I was younger, and then a good friend of mine that I'd worked with years ago thought I'd be good at selling appliances. So he got me into selling appliances at a local appliance location, and that's where my background is. So I started selling appliances in 2001, and then I made my way to Callier and Thompson. So I was the appliance manager. So if you came in prior to 2014 and needed a dishwasher or refrigerator or whatever, that's what I did. So that was my role. So not a designer by any means.
Well, I like the transition from worker bee, we're all the worker bees, we're out there getting the job done, there's a lot of work that has to be done, to help, stepping up to help run the business, to taking ownership. I mean, that's what everybody kind of dreams of. Both of you co-owners, tell me, when did that hit? I guess it kind of got thrown on you a little bit when they said, hey, we're retiring?
Oh, we just knew they were getting ready to.
Okay.
And so we approached them, and took a little while for them to agree to it. But yeah, so there were 3 of us at that time that bought the 2 Callier brothers out. And then since then, one of the other owners retired in 2019. So it's just me and Bob.
Yeah, it was really Mike.
For you?
Yeah, Mike and Carolyn approached me, or Mike approached me. He was the 3rd owner at the time, and said something about, what would you think about buying the company? And I was like, I don't know anything about running a company, buying a company. I don't have any money. He's like, we'll figure that out. So the 3 of us started getting together and talking about it. And yeah, it took a while. We made an initial offer and kind of negotiated a little bit, and then it fell through. And then I think Gary came back.
A while back.
Yeah,
later.
it might have been like a year. And one of the owners, Gary Callier, came to us and said, hey, would you guys want to reapproach this? And we went a little bit different route, and we talked numbers again and came up with a number that we thought was fair, and worked with a banker that was crucial in helping us finance it, fund it, structure it. We used an SBA loan and some of our own money, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And
This
pretty
is
scary.
like the American dream.
It was scary.
Yeah, it was scary. It was just because none of us had a background of running a business, and but we knew our business.
And
we knew what we were buying.
We knew our business, and we knew what was right and what was, not right. Yeah, and that's pretty much how we wanted to run it. We
did. We all had the same philosophy. We all had the same.
We want to make it right. If something's done wrong, we're going to redo it. Just have that goal in mind.
There you go. I mean, we tend to overcomplicate things with regard to how do you get stuff done. I mean, when I was building Microsoft Exchange servers, I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I first got started. I built one in my basement. You plug the CD in, you click set up, and let it run. It's not as complicated as you may think, but you were hands-on already, so you had a good handle on how to run this company. And then when it came upon you, that just to me that's one of the coolest stories you get in America, where you go, I'm going to take over a company that has been established and been around forever. And
We also knew we had a great team. I mean, we had a great team of employees. I mean, they were our coworkers, so we knew exactly what we were buying, and we felt confident in that and confident in each other, and we knew we were aligned as far as what our goals were and how we wanted to run the company. And so those things were actually pretty easy, but figuring out how to really dig into a P&L statement and a balance sheet, and how to handle marketing, and
I'm going to call the pencil out. P&L. You know what that is, everybody? Is it profit and loss,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Most people are like, I don't know. I just got the shipments in here. I put them on the shelf or whatever it is.
Yep.
Everybody's got their role. But when you're talking about profit and loss, that's when you're really getting into the nitty gritty of a business. Like, how do we make money at this thing? Because I get into, here we go, a little tangent, but I do a lot of charitable stuff. My mom finally, as a teacher, she taught John Goodman. We talk about that building named after her. She's like, Carter, stop with the charity stuff. You got to pay your bills, right? And it boils down to the fact that as business owners, sure, we make a living at this, but if we don't have a way to provide for ourselves, to pay our bills, to make a living, that service doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And you guys have come up with taken on, learned, and now run a company that literally provides. I can't imagine. There's got to be thousands of houses in St. Louis that have your bathrooms or kitchens. Kitchens have been made, and remodeled and built. And so I'm like, you guys look like built St. Louis a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have an estimate of how I'm putting you on the spot here?
No.
I mean, you can only how many clients a year times 50, 80, almost 70 years. This is how you run a company, everybody. This is how you do it.
I can't take credit for the first.
No, we couldn't. And then I think.
But you've kept it going. One of our sponsors, I talked to Brooke, and I'm like, Brooke, hope you don't get mad at me, but he and I were talking, and he goes, well, my dad kind of started the company and got it running. I'm like, but you didn't mess it up. Like, you know how easy it is? You know how easy it is to take any company, well-established or not, and well-established in both cases, and then make it and keep it successful. Is there some trade secrets here that we don't know about? What do you think that provided for that?
I think we were super conservative early on. I think we were very cautious with what kind of salaries.
Our first 5 years.
Our first 5 years, with the salaries that we drew and just decisions, we were very conservative, and I think that allowed us to reinvest in the company, and and then really it's just just do the right thing. If you do the right thing all the time, typically everything kind of falls into place.
Yeah, because you want your customers to rave about you, and so you want the projects to go well. You want them to be super happy with the final outcome.
Yeah, the best kind of marketing is repeat business, right?
Oh.
Repeats or referrals.
Referrals. Sorry, both of those. I meant referrals better. Repeat happens, but I guess in your case, they do a bathroom. They're not doing that every 6 months. They're doing it once every 10 years, maybe 20. But the referral, that's the key to this thing.
Yeah.
And if you are providing a great product, that's we figured it out, everybody. This is how you run a company to be successful. Follow their mold, listen to this interview, and do what has been recommended here. All right, well then let's get a little bit into. I've got a lot of great reviews up there that I saw for you guys, and that's the key to kind of track what's going on these days. There's this new thing called Google, and then Google reviews. So I don't have to scroll too long, and I see all kinds of great content there. So I'm going to put these up for everybody to take a look at. But tell me. What's it like? There's your website for everybody to see, and then these reviews, literally like, oh my gosh, a 4.9. I mean, how did you not make everybody 100% of everything? You're going to have 1 out of 100, 1 out of, but a 4.9.
There's one, and we know the one.
She wasn't a customer.
She didn't actually do business with us. Yeah,
I had the exact same thing happen to me.
It's okay.
Same thing. I didn't even know these people, and I wrote something. I'm like, what? I sent it to Google, and they're like,
Yeah,
Okay. But if you look, let me take a moment of your time to talk to you about my experience with Christine Sullivan, a designer at Callier and Thompson. I have had extensive remodeling work done this past year that included 3 bathrooms, a bedroom, full kitchen, and then wait, there's more. Living room, holy cow. Dining room, stairs. Christine calling a professional, handling the details. Sometimes I just want to give, sometimes this whole process, she goes on for 2 paragraphs here, everybody. How does that make you feel? I mean, is that a good example of what you guys do?
It is. She's a great lady, too.
We get notifications when we get reviews in, and so he'll always, especially like if it's a Monday, he'll always share it. So he has everybody emailed, and he's always like, what a great way to start a Monday. Look at this, great review we got. So he shares it with all our employees, and he shares it with all our subcontractors, our electricians, our plumbers, because they're on the job too. And a lot of times they're mentioned, by the customers also. So
what a great strategy, that positive approach towards life. Gosh, start off the week with a great review.
Yeah.
It's hard to find anything that wasn't a great review, obviously. You had the one, right? But I mean, 99% of what you got out there, you guys are doing great work and really kind of exemplifying. That's the key to this show. I don't know if I'm giving away a trade secret here, everybody, but I wanted to have business owners that could talk about how they gain their success, and they're sharing some secrets with us here about how you do that. But it's almost kind of like common sense stuff. How many times do we find people that are like, oh, I've got this great whiz bang thing, and it's the cheapest little nifty thing you can get on the planet, and you can sell the heck out of it, except that's not the right way to do things. You want something that has is integral, proven track record, not the cheap. Becomes very expensive, is that? And you guys cater to the people who are looking to do things the right way. Is that a fair way?
Yeah, it's quality work.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how we go about business. Our process allows us to do things a certain way. We use all in-house carpenters for our carpentry work. We use in-house painters for our painting, and then we subcontract out plumbers, electricians, all the specialized trades. But we want if you do something for a living, if you're an electrician, we want you doing the electrical work. If you're a plumber, we want you doing the plumbing. We don't want a guy doing all of those things.
Same with tile and
Yep.
drywall, and you know, there are handymen that do everything, but chances are they aren't that great tile setter, they aren't that great drywaller, they aren't, you know,
They might be
licensed
good at those
electricians.
things,
Yeah,
right.
but you can tell the difference.
Okay.
But we want our
And-
carpenters working for us so that we maintain control of the quality.
These
that
aren't
we-
contracted, subcontracted.
Correct. They run the
They-
job. They're our employees.
They work for us,
Yeah.
our employees, and they're
You have
phenomenal.
full control to say, wait a minute, we gotta do it this way, etc.
Yeah,
And they
and because you know, they are our employees, we can, you know, if one is free on a job, you know, they go help each other. They really work great as a team.
Yep.
You know, they'll just sub in whenever they need to and help each other out. So it's great.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep.
Is
It
that a
does.
fair way?
It
And you
does.
guys have now had a team running for how many decades, and you've been in charge of it for the last 14, 12, 13, 14. I'm losing track now. This is-
11.
11, yeah.
Well,
That's all right.
okay, 12. What year was it?
14.
14,
Okay.
so 11.
Could be getting into the 12th year. All right, so, okay. Yeah, I mean, by then you've developed systems, and that's where they say 10 years running a business, that's when you've made it. You've got that. Plus, you've also got to bring in that longevity of the company that obviously
Right.
was worth it to you guys.
Right.
You knew
yes.
what you were investing in when you decided to take over as a
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a little bit of a cost analysis. What is somebody looking at when they're going to now? And I see on there, kitchen, bath, and I saw where there's extra things around the house.
Oh,
If
we
it's
do. Yeah, we do all kinds of
anything
things.
that somebody needs done, they can have that done. How do you help somebody determine what it is they want to do? And we talked in the pregame prep. Everybody have a pregame prep. Walk me through the process. And you actually go on site to check things out and meet with people at their homes.
We do. I like.
Well, sometimes it snowballs. You know, they start with, they just want the kitchen, but then it goes into the laundry, and then it goes into flooring in the living room, and then it goes into the stairways. So sometimes it can kind of grow. So it depends on where they want to hold the budget. You know, are they, you know, stay with the kitchen and stop there, or what they want to do.
And Bob, how does that end up translating into the work that's done? We've got offset here by my co-producer. He's helping me. Josh taking on these tasks to help coordinate all of this effort.
Yeah, so once the job is sold and under contract and everything's picked out and we're ready to go, they'll be on the installation schedule, and then Josh coordinates who's going to be the lead carpenter on the job, and he sets all of that up. We use a project management software called Builder Trend, and we use that for project updates and schedules and daily logs, and the guys are responsible for keeping that stuff up to date. So yeah, and then once we get started, and then we just have a whole process. I would say the processes on our production side are pretty stringent. We do, you know, lots of dust protection and floor protection, and really try to make sure that the home is protected so that, you know, we're not trashing the whole place. And then yeah, we just go start to finish. We make sure that everything is followed the normal order of operations. You know, there's certain things you have to do in a particular order, and if you do them out of order, then they can be wrong, or you have to undo something else to fix what you did to begin with, and it gets kind of crazy and can drag on.
Well, obviously, then that's part of what you guys have put together here is the process to make sure this gets done.
Mm-hmm.
As a IT guy, we're all focused on here's the computer systemized process for everything. Essentially, you've kind of developed that process here. And I mean, computers are obviously involved, I would assume, somewhere, but more of this person takes this task, this person steps in here when this part gets done, and now you've got that whole system in place. And obviously, that's what the proof is in the pudding with the product.
Yeah, and it gets tricky, and Josh, we could actually have Josh talk about this later when he's in, but every job is so different, every job is so unique that even though you have an order of operations and we have to do things in a certain way, every job's different. Every job
Has its own
has its own challenges. You know, there's things that you open up and find, and you're like, oh, well, we had no idea this was here. Something might be hidden, or yeah, there's just all kinds of things that can come up, and the production team does an amazing job of rolling with those changes and bringing things to homeowners' attention and saying, hey, we found this, we need to come up with a solution, and they come up with a solution and make it happen.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, everybody, for a second to share with you guys a little bit about what we're doing in the community, because it ties into what these guys are doing here. So you guys obviously have established yourselves and do a lot of work to improve our world and our community. We talk about some of the organizations you help with or whatever you do there, but take a look here with our little. I've got two clips here for everybody. You know, I'm deciding right now which button should I hit. The Cowboy story has really become tied into what you guys are talking about. It's standing up, doing it right, sticking with it. And so I'm going to play that. I'm going to hit the button for that real quick, and we'll play that little blurb for everybody as we talk a little bit about, like I said, what makes the world go round. So take it.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. All right, everybody, I've got Jackson now. I hired as my highly priced videographer. We didn't say highly paid, we said highly priced. Come on up here, Jackson. So, this is your dad, right?
Yes, sir.
Kevin. A couple things I noticed about Kevin. Awesome jersey he's got on there, right? Another thing really cool. Veteran, everybody. Air Force. And
Army.
And the Army. Served in both.
Served in both.
Protecting us, keeping us safe.
Absolutely.
Help us maintain this little thing we like called freedom, where we can go to Cardinal games whenever we want
Whenever you want, walk downtown and have a good time and be safe.
Tell me what you love about when you served in the military, real quick. I'm going to ask you what you love about the Cardinals. Come on up here a little bit, though.
I actually work on military bases pretty much on a weekly basis, and so I love going to the military base and make sure that I do telecommunications, so I want to make sure that we provide the communications that's going to help them perform and do the things they need to do.
That's important.
That's what I want.
That's what I went for grad school thing for. I'm communications. If you can't communicate, nothing else matters.
I agree, 100%.
Thank you for your service there. What do you love about the Cardinals?
What do I love about the Cardinals? Well, they're the best team in the country. You know, they got more fans. It's the greatest thing to come see. I don't care. I've been to New York games. I've been everywhere, and the Cardinals are number one in my opinion.
There's people around the country. I just started off on this little Cardinal Cowboy thing. It's gotten crazy. I got people from around the country like, Cowboy, I saw you here. Lots of great fans out there that have a lot of fun.
They're everywhere.
And the best looking fans in baseball too, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Father and son, you can see it right
Absolutely.
there. You never see your son and Brandon Donovan in the same place at the same time.
That's funny because we've had a lot of people say that about him.
You got to get that bandana hat. All right, everybody. Cardinal Cowboy outside patios. Giddy up.
Boom.
All right, so we got a little bit of a taste from a veteran that served in our military, and we've got Josh now in studio here. Josh, production manager. We were talking about that. That process that you're in charge of this, right? That you're the one making sure that customer ultimately becomes very happy, right?
Try to be.
There's a lot of money involved here. This is a big remodeling that a lot of people, they want to make sure this is their home. What's it like for you running that for the company?
I mean, it's not terribly different than what I was doing before. I was a lead carpenter running projects myself for quite a while, and then just kind of got to make sure that do things in order and do things right, and that the customer is aware of what's going on. And
I like what you're saying there, because a matter of like another thing we want to encourage anybody who may be stuck in life. I work with a number of organizations and groups, and we go visit kids at different facilities, etc., to talk about it. But they may become a little overwhelmed with regard, oh my gosh, this is an unbelievable company, and how do they do that? I like what you said there, because once you've developed the process and you get used to a system, your confidence begins to kick in, right? And is that something for you? You're like, I know what the result's going to be here. We get it every time because we do the same process every time. We make sure that things get done. Is that what you're behind the scenes making things happen?
Yeah, we do everything pretty much the exact same. I mean, every job's a little bit different, but yeah, we follow the same order of events every time. Just it works,
All right, well, then I'll throw that over to Bob. That process is what makes this all work, right? You have to be systematized. Anything you're going to be successful at.
Absolutely.
You guys
absolutely.
focus on that.
I would say probably, wouldn't you say the most challenging part of your job is probably managing expectations? And, I think people are all different, which is great. And I think some people roll with things better than others. And things come up on jobs, and it's stressful, and it's having us in your home, even though we're great people and we have a great team, we're still invading someone's home, and they're still living there for the most part. And everybody handles things a little bit differently. So managing those expectations and making sure that everyone's expectations are clear and that, we're allowed to do what we do is sometimes difficult.
Is that so? The essence to this is a matter of being successful, and this is for both of you, but I'll go to you, Josh. There's always going to be some kind of hurdle, some kind of question, some kind of a little maybe a misunderstanding. Well, I thought you said light white, dark white, off white. Millions of things that go into these projects. It's we talk about it. Life is all about. The quote I get from my dad, I love this one, was, "It's not the error that causes you to lose the game." Reference to baseball, right? It's how you overcome that error. I can't imagine there's got to be dozens of things that potentially go wrong while you're doing one of these projects, because there's so much coordination going on.
Sure.
But every time, this is where you're overcoming little bitty hurdles all along the way that you can't even let necessarily. What did happen? How many times we have things going on behind the scenes? But you're fixing it, and the bottom line is, when the project is done, they get happy. You're fixing those, making sure all these little hurdles are overcome all the time. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, we just uncovered some steel on a project that there was no way of knowing it was there. It was carrying the second floor. We just didn't alarm anybody. We just had to work around it, redesign just a little bit, and it all worked out the same. And it's going to be great. I
can only imagine then. With that in mind, Bob, tell me, how often is it this project is set for this, here's what we've got, and then what are you talking about? There's steel.
Yeah.
They had some kind of other construction underneath something or whatever. Nobody would have known it was there, but you had to overcome that. And then does the president get called sometime, and you say, hey?
Not this time. They just normally they just take care of it. I'll hear about it, I'll know about it, and it'll come up that we ran into this, and this is what we're doing, and that homeowner is wonderful. So.
All right, everybody, we've been talking a lot here about some great stuff. Stay tuned for more. We're going to have another half-hour discussion here with these guys. They know what they're doing.